Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to round number 2 here in the 5th season of the NOSSCAR X2 Series. Larson Rocks in the 31 car is on the pole for the 5th time in his career in the X2 Series. Green flag is out. However, it looks like Ken was able to take the lead from him. Ken is now driving the 47 car this season instead of the 42. And that's Timac in the 24. That's Ricky in the 51 car. And in the 46 is Squirrel Nuts. Driver 88 now drives the number 13 car instead of the 46. Squirrel Nuts drives the 46 car now instead of the 27. Smokin' Joe now drives that red number 7 car that you see in 7th or 8th place there instead of the blue number 15. Right now, Ken just lost the lead to Larson Rocks. Larson Rocks, your pole sitter, is your leader. Ken is in second. And problems there for Ricky in the number 51 car. Remember, when we have the manual caution format in place for a race, there are no cautions for the first 5 laps after the very beginning of the race, the start of the race, or after a restart. And it looked like Squirrel Nuts got a little bit loose in front of Timac in the 24. Either that or there was a bit of contact. I couldn't quite tell. And Trouble for You is now battling side by side with Throbbing Vein, and that's a battle for third. Looks like Trouble for You is going to surrender it as Throbbing Vein and Timac both go all the way down below the yellow line, which is legal here at Phoenix. A lot of those drivers use the dog leg back there to their advantage. And Ken has taken the lead in the 47 car. Larson Rocks in the 31 car is in second. Throbbing Vein is in third in that number 5 car. Timac in 4th in the number 24. Trouble for You is in 5th in the number 10. Smokin' Joe is in 6th in that number 7 car. He's already climbed up to 6th, looking very strong. And I believe it is Spud Sevenfold that is behind Smokin' Joe in 7th, and I think it is Driver 88 in the number 13 car in 8th place. That's your top 8 here in the opening few laps here at Phoenix International Raceway. This is race number 2 here in the 5th season of the NOSSCAR X2 Series, which is hosted on the NASCAR 15 video game on the PlayStation 3 console. There are 2 different B Division NOSSCAR leagues hosted on NASCAR 15 on PlayStation 3. One with custom setups, which is called the NOSSCAR B Cup Series, and one with no custom setups, but you can make adjustments on pit road, and that's called the NOSSCAR X2 Series, and that's what you're watching right now. 20% distance races of real-life cup races. 20% for the X2 Series and 50% distance of a real-life cup race for the NOSSCAR B Cup Series. So these X2 Series races are much shorter. A lot of these guys feel the pressure to get to the front here in these X2 Series races. There's the battle for the lead up there between Ken and Larson Rocks, running in 1st and 2nd. Timac's in 3rd. He got around his teammate Throbbing Vein in the 5 car to take 3rd. Now Vein runs 4th. Trouble for You runs in 5th. Smokin' Joe in 6th. Driver 88 in 7th. Can't quite tell where everybody's running from there, so let's take a look at this angle. And I believe it is Twitch Whiskers running in 9th, and I think it is Gavin in the number 25 car running in 8th in between them, and then it's a hornet's nest from there on back. I believe it's RJ Haywood leading the pack of cars there from 9th on back, or 10th on back rather, in that number 42 car. RJ Haywood now drives the number 42 Target Chevy instead of the number 19 Toyota. He also raced a couple of races in the number 33 Chevy, but he has found a comfy ride in that number 42 car. Because we mentioned earlier, Ken now drives the 47. There have been a number of driver car swaps at the conclusion of Season 4 of the NOSSCAR X2 Series. We always filter out the drivers that are no longer returning and racing full-time to make sure that the more funded and more popular cars are still available for the full-time loyal drivers. Ken in the number 47 is your race leader. Remember, he won at Daytona. He's looking for another win here. 2 wins in a row to start Season 5 would really be something for that number 47 team. Larson Brox is in second. He's the pole sitter, and he's literally not fallen any more than 2 or 3 car lengths back from your race leader. Timac in the 24 is in third. Throbbing Bane in the 5 is in fourth. And I believe that Smokin' Joe has climbed all the way up into 5th place in his red number 7. Driver 88 is now in 6th. In the number 13 car, Trouble for You in the number 10 has slipped to the 7th position. And there you see the number 34 car of Seth Edward leaving pit road. He signed to drive the number 34 for the Season 5 of NOSSCAR X2. And these cars will also be the cars that they drive for the second season of the NASCAR B Cup Series. And there you see Gavin, and the number 25 car is on pit road as well. So either scheduled pit stops have begun here at Phoenix International Raceway, or there are a couple of cars having issues in the early going. But you can see what the fresh tires mean, because Seth Edward in the 34 car was struggling before he made his pit stop, and now he's able to march away from Timac, who's the 3rd place running car. And let's give a call to that number 5 team. He's really not letting Timac get any further away. And let's also give a call to the number 7 team and the number 13 team. Smokin' Joe in the 7, running 5th. Very strong in the early going. He qualified towards the back, and he's marched up to 5th. And driver 88 in the 13 car started, I believe, in 9th or 10th. And he's already all the way up into 6th place, looking very strong. Trouble for You qualified very well, but he has slipped from inside the top 5 to outside the top 5. And we just saw Timac get very loose coming out of the turn 2 there. And that allows his teammate Throbbing Bane to get around him and take the 3rd spot. Now let's see if Vane can run down Larson Rocks or Ken. Looks like Timac's not going to let him get away so easily, though. The 24 is now on the inside. I'm not quite sure, but I feel like there's a caution on the racetrack. And no, I am wrong, guys. We're still under green flag conditions. Timac not able to complete the pass on the number 5 car. Pit stops have still continued to take place here. Green flag pit stops. These guys are all getting very, very close to having to make their pit stop. I believe that Hard Pickle in the number 2 car has already made his pit stop. And there you see Vane is going to surrender his position and come down pit road. Timac stays out. And I believe Ken has already made his pit stop because he is behind Timac there. As you can see, he's the third car in line behind the race leader. So Timac has taken over the race lead. But he's yet to make his pit stop. He's going to have to make it very soon. And we're now getting word that there is a caution on the racetrack. And this is going to scramble everything. As you can see, Larson Rocks and Dexter and Throbbing Vane, there's a lot of cars on pit road right now. So we're going to really have to try to figure this one out. It appears that Timac 11... Oh, there was a bit of a stack up there under caution, and I'm not really too sure who. It looked like Mananger in the 48 car got turned by somebody, and I'm not sure who. And we're trying to figure out the order, and pit road is now open. As you can see, some cars are taking the waiver out, in fact most, because they were indeed on pit road when this caution took place, and now they are all going to go around and get their lap back. And there's still a little bit of confusion. There's always a lot of confusion when cars start to come down pit road under green flag conditions, and then a caution comes out partway through the green flag pit stop cycle. Because then some cars were on pit road, some cars were leaving pit road, some cars are a lap down, some cars are 2 laps down. Lots of confusion. As you can see, they are taking quite a bit of time to make sure that they've got every car in the right spot on the racetrack. I believe that all 16 cars are still on the racetrack. And they have still not went back green. But when they do, it looks like Timac, Trouble for You, on the front row. Throbbing Vane in the 5. Mananger in the 48 on the second row. Third row, Spud Sevenfold in the 20 and Dexter in the number 11. Fourth row is Squirrel Nuts in the 46 and Gavin in the 25. Green flag is back in the air. Oh, a little bit of contact between Trouble for You and Throbbing Vane. Vane went up and hit the wall. That allowed Spud Sevenfold to get all the way up to second. In that number 20 car, that yellow number 20, Trouble for You is now in third, and there was a big wreck back there. I couldn't quite see who was involved. But there was a 2-3 car wreck. But remember guys, whenever we have the manual cautions in place for a race, there are no cautions for the first 5 laps after a restart or the initial start of a race. And also there are no cautions when there are 5 laps to go. For example, if a caution comes out with 10 laps to go, whenever you restart that race, there's no more cautions left in the race. Perhaps a caution comes out with 12 laps to go and it takes 1 or 2 laps to get the pit stops and get everybody in order and things like that. There still might be no cautions all the way until the finish. So those are 2 key rules to keep in mind whenever manual cautions is the procedure that we are using for a race. As you can see, Spud Sevenfold is gaining some ground on Timac for the race lead. Dexter in the 11 car is in third. Trouble for You just bounced off the wall and went from 4th to 5th. See if we can get a good look at it here. Not really. And it looks like Ken is all the way back up into third, that number 47 car. Timac has never won here at Phoenix International Raceway in the NOSSCAR X2 Series. The three former winners in the NOSSCAR X2 Series here at Phoenix are Ken, Tyler Scott in the 78 car, and Jay Taylor in the number 88. Remember, Jay Taylor is your Season 4 NOSSCAR X2 Series champion last season. However, Jay Taylor is having internet connection issues as of late, and therefore has announced that he will not be able to attend the first 6 races at minimum for Season 5. Whenever his issues get resolved, we will certainly have Jay Taylor back on the racetrack. And caution is out once again here at Phoenix International Raceway. So we're going to not restart. Well, yes, we are going to restart, but we're actually going to fast forward to pit stops. Pit road was closed that time by. We're still trying to get everybody close together. And Dexter gets the free pass. Apparently Dexter was actually not on the lead lap. So he will go around and join the tail of the field, and will restart at the tail of the field for this upcoming restart. Pit road, I believe, will be open this time by. Yes, sir. And everyone except for Ricky came down pit road, unless, I believe Ricky wants to get a lap back, so he's going to take a wave around and not make a pit stop. And Mananger is going to get off pit road first. We're getting a report that he took 2 right side tires. Timac gets out second. Spud sevenfold in the 23rd. Ken in 4th. Looks like Throbbing Vein in 5th. It looks like Larson Rocks in 6th. And it looks like Smokin' Joe in 7th. Trouble for You in 8th, perhaps. And we are still not going green. I believe that they will be going green this time by here. Yes, sir, green flag is out at Phoenix International Raceway. Mananger in the 48 car. Your race leader, NASCAR Guy Sr., now drives the number 4 car part-time. And Mananger has moved from the 35 to the 48 in a big wreck there through the dog leg. It looked like 3 or 4 cars, but to be honest, it looked like all of them gathered it up. Nobody ultimately spun out. And it looked like Smokin' Joe went up and hit the wall hard, and he stacked up 3 or 4 cars up there. And that's Seth Edward in the number 35, or 34 car rather. He's making a move on Timac for 4th, and he's going to get it. Oh, and looked like Mananger and Throbbing Vein made some contact, and Seth Edward ran into the back of Mananger. And now Seth Edward just went back up the track, and he is involved in a huge wreck with another driver. Spud Sevenfold is your new leader. That's the 2nd or 3rd time Spuds has avoided a disaster and gained positions, and this most recent one he was able to lead a lap and get a bonus point. Timac now challenging him for that race lead though, and it looks like he's got the preferred line going into turns 3 and 4, and he's going to take the race lead. Mananger with those 2 tires is in 3rd. Throbbing Vein in the 5 cars in 4th. Trouble for You in the 10 cars in 5th. And it appears that Ken in the 47 cars in 6th. And Dexter in the 11 car, after getting the free pass, the most recent caution, is in 7th. He avoided that disaster as well. There has been a couple of incidents ever since they restarted this most recent time. And there you see R.J. Haywood on pit road in the number 42 car with flames coming from the hood. And we're getting a report that Seth Edward and R.J. Haywood are both out of the race because of that most recent incident, and they will finish in 16th and 15th. Seth Edward gets 16th and R.J. Haywood gets 15th. Very tough break. Remember, the cautions breed cautions, and that's why we have the no cautions for 5 laps after a restart rule, because if we have cautions every 2 or 3 laps, or every other lap, then we're going to have lots of cautions, barely any green flag driving, and we want the fans that are watching at home or at work or wherever you are to enjoy lots of green flag action. Timac, the race leader, Throbbing Bane in the 5 car is in second. Ken in the 47 is in third. Trouble for You is in fourth. Spud Sevenfold has slipped to the 5th place position in the number 20 car. And that's the view behind the race leader, and you can see them, some of them slowly gaining ground actually. Trouble for You is in 4th. Man Anger is in 6th position in the 48 car, just an update on him, with those 2 tires on that pit stop. I believe that it is Dexter in 7th, Smokin' Joe in 8th, and Driver 88 in 9th. And THR Hard Pickle in the number 2 car in 10th. And I believe Ricky in the number 51 car is in 11th. It's tough to say when you're looking back there, but that is roughly where they restarted for one. I don't know if you guys could see it at home, but there was a 3Y battle. A 3Y battle coming out of the final turn, and they were still 3Y coming to the start-finish line. But Timac's putting some distance on the field, so it's a little bit difficult to see what's going on. As you can see, though, Ken in the 47 car has gotten himself into the 2nd position. Vane is in 3rd in the 5 car. Trouble for You is in 4th in the number 10 car. And then there is literally a 5 or 6 car battle for 5th position on back. So the 24, the 47, the 5, and the 10 are really avoiding a big, huge war by having good track position for the restart and fast cars to kind of get away from that mess. And there must have been a problem for THR Hard Pickle, because that's the number 2 car just in front of these guys, and he's being scored in the number 14 position. And he's in trouble of going a lap down. I really like the Miller Lite paint job, though. It's quite the salute to Rusty Wallace, back when Wallace used to be the driver of the number 2 car in the Cup Series races, in real life competition, that is, as this is simply an E-League, an esports league. And now we got a battle for the race lead. Timac and Ken are nose to tail. Timac won Season 1 and 2 NOSSCAR X2 Series championships. Ken won the most recent race, the season opener for Season 5 at Daytona, and he's looking to make it 2 in a row to start the season, and that would certainly play into his chances towards winning the championship this season. Ken has won lots of races in both of the NASCAR leagues, the B Division leagues on the PlayStation 3 console, as well as other leagues that he has been involved in on the NASCAR 15 video game. He's quite the talented driver to have here in both the B divisions of NASCAR. The 3 divisions, the 3A divisions of NASCAR, will begin on January 15th, 2018, and all 3 divisions will be hosted on the NASCAR Heat 2 video game on the PlayStation 4 console. The NOSSCAR A Cup Series, the NOSSCAR X1 Series, and the NOSSCAR Truck Series will all begin on January 15th, Daytona races. For more information on how to sign up and become a NASCAR driver in either of the 2 divisions, simply go to www.nosscar.com, and at the bottom of the homepage you will see instructions on how to become a NASCAR driver. The battle for the lead is continuing, the 47 and the 24. Very close there. Timac got a little bit into that corner a little too hard, and he had to drift up the hill and catch it a little bit. And that's going to allow the 47 to still be on the inside of him for this corner. And here at Phoenix, you don't really want to be side by side for very long. And nice crossover move by Timac to take the bottom. Ken slowed down to try to do the same thing. Timac did a bit of a slide job, but it all worked out perfectly for them both. They both stay pointed in the right direction, and we stay green. And oh, what a little bit of contact there. Ken gives Timac a shot getting into turns 3 and 4. Timac gathered it up, and he still remains the race leader for the time being. And as you can see, though, he definitely moved up a groove and gave him the line. He doesn't want to get bumped too many times out there. And Ken had the bottom, so he's got the option to take the dog leg. Timac took it a little bit, knowing Ken was going to take the whole thing. And oh, and problems there. And Timac got into Ken, and coming to the start-finish line, Timac 11 is going to win the second race of Season 5 here in the NOSSCAR X2 Series. But let's look at that again. I think that was a bubble. There did not appear to be contact between the two cars. Oh, this is exciting. As you can see there, yeah, there was certainly no contact. There is about 2/3 of a car length there in between the two, and Ken got turned into the outside wall. And after reviewing the footage, it appears that Ken red motored and he was unable to cross the start-finish line. The unofficial scoring has him finishing in 6th position, but there was far more cars on the lead lap than that, and Ken was unable to cross the finish line. So we're certainly going to have to review his finish for that. He was clearly on fire and red motored, and I'm going to show it to everybody once again here. And you could definitely tell there was a bubble. Timac did not make any contact with Ken. We're going to see it one more time. But it's going to be Timac getting his 18th career NOSSCAR X2 Series win. And you could tell he certainly didn't mean to get into Ken. Yeah, there's lots of room in between the two. That is a bubble. And now there, right there, you can see the fire, not the sparks, right there now. Now that the sparks are not there as much, you can see that there is fire from the hood of Ken. Therefore, he was certainly unable to continue and get to the start-finish line. We have him scored in 6th position for the finish, but that certainly is going to be reviewed because we know that there was more cars than that on the lead lap, and this is going to be a hit in the standings for Ken. Thank you very much for joining us, guys. This was Race 2 here in Season 5 of the NOSSCAR X2 Series. Timac wins, Throbbing Bane in 2nd, Larson Rocks 3rd, Squirrel Nuts 4th, Mananger 5th, Dexter in 6th, Spud Sevenfold 7th, Trouble for You in 8th, Smokin' Joe in 9th, Driver 88 in 10th. And I believe Ricky was the first car one lap down, therefore just Ken finishes in 11th, Ricky in 12th, THR Hard Pickle in 13th, Gavin in 14th, RJ Haywood in 15th, and Sed Edward in 16th. Thank you very much for joining us, guys. This was a NOSSCAR X2 Series race at Phoenix International Raceway on NASCAR 15 on the PlayStation 3 console. Coming up very soon is the Kansas race, round 3 of 22 here in Season 5. And we'll see you there. Thanks very much for joining us, guys.